Good evening, everyone. Once again, this is Dr. Moreau bringing you Cause l'École. And today we have a very important message for our students and our parents. I hope that you've received my notifications yesterday and today saying how important it was for you guys to join Cause l'École tonight. And as always, I'm sharing the program with as many people as possible so that way everybody can get a chance to listen to me as I'm sharing invaluable information. And as always, Cause l'École believes that if you are well informed, you can make better decisions. The more informed you are, better decision you can make. That's why we are sharing this with you. And welcome to Cause l'École. Last Saturday, we spoke about social media, the different types of social media out there. There are many different platforms. And we warned the parents to make sure that they watch over their children to see what social media platform they are using, because there's at least 20 out there. Of course, some of them are the most common one, like Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. But there are many different ones like Plurk, Quora, Telegram, Nextdoor, Meetup, Periscope, and some of those we hardly hear about. So please be careful on what social media platform your children are using. Today, we will be talking about the SUS matrix. What is the SUS matrix? The SUS matrix is basically a guide for our students and parents. A guide for our students and parents who are in high school. And this SUS matrix deals with the state universities. So we have 12 state universities that students can apply to. So today I'm going to share the name of these institutions, the application type, how can you apply to these institutions, the different GPA and SAT or ACT scores that they accept. I will also talk about whether or not they accept waivers when you apply, and do they have a 2+2 enhancement programs? What is a 2+2 enhancement program? So I will also go over that. I'm gonna try not to be too long because it's a lot of information on there, but I'm gonna share with you the most invaluable information. So again, the SUS matrix has to deal with the 12 state universities that we have in Florida. So whether or not you are overseas, whether you are in Florida, if you are in the United States, in Canada, wherever you are, you're planning on attending a state university in Florida, the SUS matrix, you can use that to help you better decide on which university to attend. Many times as a school counselor, the parents and students want to go to UF, for example, University of Florida, but they have a 2.5 GPA and they have a 750 SAT score. Are they able to attend University of Florida? So the SUS matrix informs you of the different schools that you can attend and the requirements for these schools. So if you have access to the SUS matrix, you can see what is your current GPA, what is your SAT score, what score did you get on the ACT. If you're planning on attending Florida State University, FIU, for example, UCF, the SUS matrix will help you know what do you need to do? Do you need to raise your GPA? Do you need to retake the SAT or the ACT? Do you need a higher test score? When is the application? When is the deadline? What kind of benefits do I get at certain universities? How can I apply? Okay, so what are these 12 universities? So the first one is FIMU. The second one, Florida Atlantic University. Florida Gulf Coast University. Florida International University. Florida Polytechnic. Florida State University. New College of Florida. University of Central Florida. University of Florida. University of North Florida, University of South Florida, and the University of West Florida. So all of these 12 state universities are all over Florida, from the Panhandle, which is around Pensacola, all the way down to South Florida, where we have FIU. Again, what are the application types for those schools? Many of the schools, you can apply directly to the schools. You can also do something called Common Application, the Common App. On the Common App, you can do one application and all of these 12 state universities will have access to that application. So you don't need to do 12 different applications. One application is good for all 12. Okay? So it's very good for you to use the SUS matrix. The SUS matrix also tells you which one of those schools waive your application. As you know, it gets very expensive when you begin applying to universities. If you have free or reduced lunch at school, many parents don't apply for it, but why not apply it? Because 5 applications will be at least close to $400 for 5 college applications. So if you apply for free or reduced lunch, you could qualify for fee waivers. And those fee waivers will help you to apply to those universities for free. Okay? So, those universités sa qui dans l'État Floride, ou gen doit n'importe côté dans le monde, ou gen doit n'importe côté États-Unis, ou capable appliquer pour l'école ça yo. Et si ou gen free or reduced lunch, si ou manger l'école là pour free, ou fait une application pour ça pour capable qualifier, application ça permet tout, si ou qualifier la permet tout appliquer pour collège ça yo sans qu'on pas payer. Alors que il y a pile parents qui peuvent le faire application ou gen doit faire et depuis vous qualifier petit ou capable appliquer pour collège ça yo sans qu'il pas payer. Et pas oublier 4 ou 5 collèges application seulement là coûte presque $400. Alors si vous qualifiez pour waiver, ça son fee waiver, yo waive fee, ça veut dire ou pas besoin payer pour lui, ou capable faire application dans l'école là, dans registration office là. Et puis il a dit aussi ou qualifié, si vous qualifiez ou capable appliquer dans l'école ça yo sans qu'on pas payer en SENCOB. SUS metrics en bao deadline qui gagne. All right, there's also deadline on when to apply to those schools. So we have different type of applications. We have early action, we have early admission, we have regular decision. So all of these different type of applications let you know when do you apply to college, right? So many early action is basically around November. Then you have early decision in January, and regular decision is around March. So that tells you when do you need to submit your application. So if you're trying to do early action by November 1st, right now we're in October, you should submit your application already. You should be gathering your transcripts and start submitting your college applications. Early decision is January. So after around November, December, you can submit your application. And regular decision is around March. Then you have until January to submit your application. There's also something called rolling decision. The rolling decision means there's no deadline. So that means those colleges and universities, they make decisions throughout the year. So there's no deadline on when you can apply. So based on the school that you intend on applying, you need to know which ones have rolling decisions, which ones have regular decisions, they all do, which one have early or if they have early actions. I usually suggest to the students, do not apply for the fall semester. The fall semester is a very competitive semester to apply to get admitted at those schools, because everyone is trying to get to school in August, which is the fall semester. You should apply for summer. You should apply to start school in June, because what happened in the summer, that's when people travel. Not everybody wants to go to school in the summer, right? So when you apply to get admitted to start college in the summer, you have a better chance, and I'm going to show you why. I'm going to tell you why you have a better chance at getting admitted when you apply for summer admission. So, l'on a appliqué pour collège, pas appliqué pour commencer en août, parce que l'on a appliqué pour août, li très très compétitive, parce que quand pile monde, c'est en août que a essayé et entrer l'école. Yo pas voulu commencer l'école dans summer, parce que dans été, c'est là ça, you know, on a voyagé, on a vacances, il y a prend plaisir. So, ou même qui décide de commencer l'école dans summer, dans été, l'école là a ba ou plus chance pour accepter. Et je vais montrer où ça fait ça, je vais le différencier. Et qui ça fait les plus important, là, appliquer pour collège, pour appliquer pour commencer dans le mois de juin, au lieu de pour commencer dans le mois d'août. Qui raison fait ça? So these are the reasons. For example, I'm gonna take two schools. Let me take FIU, which is right here in South Florida, and UCF, which is up north in Orlando. So, for example, FIU for summer admission, you need a 3.7 to a 4.3 GPA. 3.7 to 4.3 GPA. If you apply for fall admission, you need a 4.2 to 4.6 GPA for fall admission. As you can see, the GPA for fall is higher for the GPA for summer admission. And it's the same thing for the test scores. So for SAT, for summer admission, you only need a 1040 to 1160. 1040 to 1160. If you're trying to apply for fall, you need a 1200 to 1350. 1200 to 1350. So if you have a 1040 or 1100, you're trying to get admission in the fall, you're going to be out of luck. You're not going to get admitted, and especially if your GPA is not where it needs to be for the fall semester. Sometimes the universities balance the GPA and the test scores. So if you have a very high GPA and your test scores is a little bit low, because not everybody tests well, some universities tend to balance that out for you. So you never know, but that could happen. Again, for the ACT, if you're trying to apply for summer, you need a 20 to 25 at FIU. Now, if you're trying to apply for fall, you need a 25 to 30. As you can see, the fall requirements are more competitive than the summer requirements. And what about UCF in Orlando? If you apply for summer, you need a 3.7 to 4.9. If you're trying to apply for fall, you need a 3.9 to 4.4. So students with a 4.4 will get more advantage, will be in a better advantage than you who has a lower GPA. And it goes the same for the test scores for UCF. For summer, you need 1170 to 1280. For fall, you need a 1250 to 1370. ACT, 23 to 28 for summer. For fall, 26 to 30. Again, apply for summer admission if you don't have the test scores that's required or the GPA that's required. You can always retake those tests to raise your score. You can always retake a class. If you had a D in a class, you can always retake it, so that way your new grade can replace that grade and your GPA will get higher as well. one thing you need to keep in mind is those universities, they do something called recalculation. They recalculate your GPA. They do that using the core classes. So many of you get A's in the elective classes and you get B's and C's in the core classes. You need to turn that around. So you need to get A's and B's in the core classes, because that's what those universities use to recalculate your GPA. And when they do that recalculation, that's how they go by either admitting you for summer or they admit you for fall semester. They also do something called, super score. What is a super score? Super score, that's when you take the SAT twice and they take the highest of each time, and that's how they combine your score. So they call it super score. So super score means you take the test 2 times and they take the highest score. For example, if you score 420 one time and you score 450 the second, they will use the 450. If you score 600 one time and you score 550 the second, they will use the 600. So they will combine the 2 highest scores in order for you to have something called super score. So the super score, that's what they use for admission at those universities. There's also something else those universities do that's called the 2+2 enhancement programs. What is the 2+2 enhancement programs? That's when somebody graduates and they apply to UCF or FSU or UF at one of those 12 state universities, but they do not qualify right away. They do not get admitted right away. So those universities, what they do is they have a program with community colleges in their areas where the students go to those community colleges for 2 years. When you do that, you get your associate degree, and then you can transfer to these other schools for the remainder of the 2 years where you can get your bachelor's degree. So sometimes you don't really even need to apply, because once you at that school for the first 2 years, after the first 2 years, you basically transition to the university for the remaining 2 years. You don't have to apply because they already know that's what they sent you to that school. So the first 2 years you do that at that school, and then after that you transfer to the university. Some of these schools, these universities, they have something called the Connect for Success. That's FIU. They have that at Miami-Dade. Florida Polytechnic has something called in a program with Polk State College. Florida FIMU has something called Ignite program. So these universities, University of South Florida in Tampa, they have something called Fuse. So they have different programs where the students who are not qualified to go directly after graduation, you're not qualified to directly go to the university, they send you to these enhancement programs, and after 2 years, you transition to the university. So if you do not get admitted right away, don't get upset. Pas fâché si vous pas admis dans l'école ça, parce que l'école ça a un programme avec l'autre collège. Donc par exemple, FIU a un programme avec Miami-Dade. Si vous graduez ou pas aller directement FIU, ou al faire 2 ans Miami-Dade, ou gain un associé degré, après 2 ans ou transitionner à FIU, côté que ou pas même besoin d'appliquer encore pour FIU. FIU a automatiquement quitté ou rentrer FIU pour capable faire l'autre 2 ans, parce que le programme ça est Connect for Success. OK, so faut faire partie de programme nan pour capable permettre transition dans l'école ou sans qu'on pas appliquer. Si que ou pas fait partie de programme ça yo, of course, ou pas obligé appliquer pour admission après 2 premières années yo. So un bachelor degré c'est 4 ans le prend. So vous fait 2 ans ou pour associate dans community college, gain élève kal Broward College, gain élève kal Miami-Dade College. Right? So l'on fini avec 2 premières années yo, ou transitionner dans une université pour l'autre 2 ans, côté qu'on capable déclarer qui major qu'on peut le faire, et puis ou faire l'autre 2 ans ça pour faire major. nous te dit, n'a parlé de différents applications qu'est-ce qui gagne waiver, deadlines, nombre deadlines, deadline c'est gain deadline en novembre pour early action, en janvier pour early decision, mars pour regular decision, et puis gain l'école qui gagne rolling decision, côté qu'on pas gain deadline pendant toute l'année, yo prend application, yo accepte élève. What about financial aid? So what about financial aid? So many of these schools, they provide financial aid. So they have something called, you have tuition, you have on-campus room and board, and you have books and supplies. So when you apply for financial aid, which is called FAFSA, right? It opens October 1st. So today, October 16th. So that means the FAFSA has been open since for the past 2 weeks. So you need to go on FAFSA.org to do your FAFSA. That's how you receive money from the government to pay for the schools. So those funds are called the Pell Grant, right? So you have the Pell Grant. You can also have scholarships. There's something called the FFAA, which is the Florida Grant. You can get that. You can also call something called the Bright Future. So these are for Florida students, the Bright Future. You need to be a Florida resident in order to get that. And I believe I spoke about that before when I spoke about different type of scholarships that students can receive when you go to college. So all of these schools accept the Pell Grant from the government. In order for you to receive the grant, remember a Pell Grant, you don't pay back because it's a grant. The only thing you pay back is a loan. And while you're doing your bachelor's degree, I discourage you to take loans. You should not take loans. You should wait to take loans when you're doing your master's or your doctorate degree. That's when you need loans. But while you're doing your bachelor, you should use the Pell Grant and scholarships money. There are thousands of different types of scholarships out there that you can use in order to pay for your school. So apply for as many scholarships as possible. Don't get impatient because it takes time for you to research, to sit there, talk to your college advisor at your school. And if you do that, you can receive different types of scholarships, apply for them, and make sure you apply for financial aid so you can receive the Pell Grant from the government. Every year, billions of dollars are not used because students do not apply for financial aid. Billions of dollars. Okay? So do not let that happen to you. So if you are qualified, and you won't know if you qualified unless you do the application. So please do the application so that way you can benefit from the government giving you a Pell Grant, and with that Pell Grant, you can pay for your tuition. Again, I want to say thank you to everybody who's been watching. This is Cause L'école. We're here every Saturday between 6 and 6:30, sometimes after 6:30. Today, we brought you information regarding the SUS program, the SUS matrix. It has 12 state universities on there, and they talk about the transfer programs, the different aids you can get from the schools. They talk about the application type that they accept, the deadlines for those applications. They also talk about the GPA requirement, the SAT or the ACT requirement for those 12 state universities. So please go to the SUS matrix, review this information on your own when you have time, so that way you can be better informed on what you need to do to attend those 12 state universities. And again, those 12 state schools are FAMU, FAU, Florida Gulf Coast University, FIU, Florida Polytechnic University, Florida State University, New College of Florida, University of Central Florida, UCF, University of Florida, UF, University of North Florida in Jacksonville, University of South Florida, in Tampa and University of West Florida in Pensacola. So wherever you want to be in the state, you can go to the Panhandle or South Florida. Those are university for you. All of these are great universities. All you have to do is apply and you will get admitted. If you do not get admitted for the fall semester, you will get admitted for the summer. If you do not get admitted for the summer or the fall, they will grant you admission in January of the spring semester. And they have something called a 2+2 enhancement program with different colleges to allow you to do 2 years at those colleges, and then you transfer for the other 2 years. So do the application, go on those schools' websites, apply. If you have free or reduced lunch, you can get a fee waiver so you don't have to pay. If you do not have free or reduced lunch, go and apply for it. You may qualify. Talk to your college advisor at your high school. And parents and students, I thank you for watching. I see my wife, my cousins, I see my friend there, Emma, watching, and everybody else who's watching. Thank you. And please, if you know somebody who can benefit from this information, let them know that Cause L'école is on every Saturday at 6 p.m. And we also have our YouTube channel that they can watch us after so they don't miss out on that invaluable information. Enjoy the rest of the Saturday. Enjoy the rest of the weekend. I will see you next Saturday, the 23rd of October. Good night.